Does this man look like a threat to you? Does he look like a gang member from Tren de Agua? Because the Trump administration said yes, he's a danger to all of us, and he's a gang member. He was disappeared, taken from his home, and brought to a torture facility in El Salvador. I have reporting on the conditions there, which are barbaric. Barbaric. I've got a little bit of background on this guy, Andre, who has been disappeared, and I've got responses from the administration coming right up. So Andre is gay, he's a makeup artist, and he is not a gang member. In fact, he is an asylum seeker, and he came to this country to make a better life for himself and to also escape from horrific conditions in his own country. We used to bring people like that in here. Now, the asylum process is terrible and it's hard to go through, but we're supposed to be a country that protects people and gives them a better place to build a life. And what we've done to him is absolutely horrific. What we're doing to people who are not criminals is terrible. Is terrible. Here are the conditions of what is happening, this facility in El Salvador. The intake began with slaps. One man sobbed when a guard pushed him to the floor. He said, "I'm not a gang member, I'm gay, I'm a barber." That's Andre. The reporter believed him, but maybe it's only because he didn't look like what I had expected. He wasn't a tattooed monster. The men were pulled from the buses so fast the guards couldn't keep pace. Chains at their ankles and wrists, they stumbled and fell. Some guards falling to the ground with them. With each fall came a kick, a slap, a shove. The guards grabbed necks and pushed bodies into the sides of the buses as they forced the detainees forward. There was no blood, but the violence had rhythm like a theater of fear. Inside the intake room, a sea of trustees descended on the men with electric shavers, stripping heads of hair with haste. The guy who claimed to be a barber began to whimper, folding his hands in prayer as his hair fell. He was slapped. The man asked for his mother, then buried his face in his chained hands and cried as he was slapped again. After being shaved, the detainees were stripped naked. More of them began to whimper. The hard faces I saw on the plane had evaporated. It was like looking at men who passed through a time machine. In 2 hours, they had aged 10 years. Their nice clothes were not gathered or cataloged, but simply thrust into black garbage bags to be thrown out with their hair. They entered their cold cells, 80 men per cell, with steel planks for bunks, no mats, no sheets, no pillow. No mats, no sheets, no pillow. No television, no books, no talking, no phone calls, and no visitors. For these Venezuelans, it was not just a prison that they had arrived at. It was an exile to another world, a place so cold and so far from home, they may as well have been sent into space, nameless and forgotten. Holding my camera, it was as if I watched them become ghosts. Is this what America's become? We send people to these torture facilities where they are violently hit. They have no due process. These people, now I'm sure some of them are gang members. I'm sure. Everyone deserves due process. The second we stop giving people due process is the second we stop becoming America. And the second we stop giving some people due process, it is an opening for it to happen to more and more people. We have to point this out repeatedly. Here's a person representing Andre saying, "Thank you for shining a lot of light on Andre. He is not TDA. Andre is an asylum seeker who entered legally with an appointment to seek protection. He is a makeup artist who loves theater. He is a gay man. He is close to his family. He is 31 years old. He is a human being." Now, Andre is not the only person who was mistakenly thrown into a torture facility by the U.S. government. There's also a woman who was sent to a man's prison in El Salvador. And here is our national security advisor kind of not caring.
Case of this judge that wanted to turn a flight around full of gang members that had intelligence packets that had determined what they're doing.
To a man's prison, and El Salvador said, No.
I mean,
so it's the question of if you are suspending the ability to have a day in court, that you get the list right.
But
that you can verify that these people are gang members.
Look, every one of them were here illegally. So first of all, we had every right and should deport every one of these individuals. If you want to make a special case for one, that's fine. But underlying that is the Alien Act that has determined that Commander-in-Chief has the absolute authority to do this.
As Margaret Bennett was pointing out there, they weren't deported. They were sent to prison. They are being detained without due process. Here's Honan, our border czar, talking about this.
How do you, I mean, what we've heard from lawyers representing some of these people is that they deny that they're members of this gang, or either, you know, Tren de Aragua or MS-13. Do they get a chance to prove that before you take them out of the country and put them in to a notorious prison in a country that they're not even from? I mean, do they have any due process at all?
Look, due process. Where was Laken Riley's due process? Where were all these young women that were killed and raped by members of TDA? Where was their due process?
Well, the people that did that should be prosecuted.
Alive on a subway. Where's her due process?
Well,
the bottom line is that plane was full of people designated as terrorists. Number one. Number two, every Venezuelan migrant on that flight was a TDA member based on numerous criminal investigations, on intelligence reports, and a lot of work by ICE officers.
No, he's lying. He's lying. This is not a gang member. He's lying. This is not a gang member. This is a makeup artist who is seeking asylum, who got caught up in this process. God knows how. He should be afforded the same rights as anyone else to defend himself from this wrongful accusation. So I think we can all feel really helpless in moments like this, but I want to just say that one thing you can do, if you're on X, I don't think Marco Rubio is on Blue Sky. I don't think he's on Threads. If you still have an X account, you should tag him and say that you want Andre to have his day in court. You want him brought back for the asylum he was seeking. That's something you can do. And you can also call your senators and let them know that you think everyone in America should have due process. Everyone in America should have a day in court to defend themselves. Otherwise, we are no longer the United States of America. All right, that's all I got. I just want to say real fast that I don't know what happened, but the algorithm problem, after I pointed it out and the community showed up, I mean, you gave me like 30,000 likes on my last video, and it, you know, it seems like whatever we did worked. So thank you all so much for that, because what we're talking about here obviously is so important, and we have to make sure as many people see it as possible. And I don't care who tries to suppress us. The community has shown that we are going to make sure that these stories get out. So thank you so much. If you did like this video, please hit like on the video. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much.